All right, Aggs, we're coming off a hard loss to the Razorbacks, but this week we got Mississippi State. And with a new week comes new opportunities. So if we're going to beat the hell out of the Bulldogs, we better know them inside and out. So let's take a look. So let's take a look at some of their stats real quick. Their most recent game against LSU, you notice right off the bat, 29 first downs to LSU's 15. 12 of 18 on third down. 486 total yards to LSU's 344. You know, I'm looking at that and I'm just kind of saying, wait, are you saying that LSU won this game? It was 28 to 25 LSU. That doesn't seem right. So it took me two looks at this before I really started to kind of question that. And then I started looking at a few other places, and this is what I found. So when I looked at the play-by-play, you see the fumble in the first possession by Mississippi State. And then LSU get the touchdown on 9 plays and just going 35 yards. So they got a short field. Mississippi State punts. LSU gets it back, punts. Mississippi State throws an interception. Gives it back to LSU. Only gets to 27 yards. Mississippi State comes back with a field goal. All right. LSU comes back at them with an interception. Then we got a punt from Mississippi State and a punt from LSU. That gets us to the end of the half. All right, so LSU gets a touchdown on a 2-play 75-yard drive, if you want to call that a drive. Mississippi State with a field goal, LSU with a punt. Mississippi State comes back with a punt, and then LSU responds with a 1-play 58-yard touchdown. So LSU really getting some quick scores here, and this is what I was kind of seeing maybe whenever I was looking at those stats. I was like, this is just not quite adding up. Mississippi State gets a touchdown on 8 plays, although it looks like it wasn't recorded until a few possessions later. LSU hits their longest actual drive of the game with a 9-play 75-yard drive. And then Mississippi State reels together their best drive of 12 plays, 75 yards to get another touchdown, although the app was lagging pretty bad, and so that ended up making it 28-25, which is where this game ended. So kind of a discrepancy. So let's take a look at some plays. So Mississippi State runs 10 personnel quite a bit, 1 running back, no tight ends. It's going to be a run play right from the get-go. You see the linemen come right off the line of scrimmage. They open up a pretty good hole. I'm not sure LSU was quite in the right place to make tackle for this one. In large part, Mississippi State's running a 3-man down front with 1 guy up, but they'll kind of run those linebackers up there and bring them from a lot of different directions, kind of similar to how Arkansas did, to be honest. You'll see with this footage that there's a lot of pressure happening, and it looks a lot of times like Mississippi State's winning these matchups. Look at it from another angle here. Really, the LSU quarterback's pretty lucky to kind of get out of this. Sidesteps, and he ends up making a throw. Back on offense, you see them. They're going up against a 3-man front. We're typically going to be running a 4-man front on defense against their offensive line here again with 10 personnel, 1 running back, no tight ends. Let's see the throw from the quarterback here. Good drop back by the LSU DBs to make that interception. So he'll kind of drop that pass in there a little bit later, and you'll see. Watch this route that they run here with the 3 out wide. You're going to see 10 come in shallow underneath. And really, he looks like he is open. The LSU guys don't really look like they're aware that he's there. We have that trouble with our linebackers from time to time. Little zone read coming in here. He gives it. Mississippi State's defensive line's pretty physical, but they were able to get that hole right there and get some good yardage on them on that particular play. So if I'm grading LSU, I'm thinking, well, you're sending a 3-man rush and you're dropping 8, and whenever you do that, you're playing the zone concept, and so you're not going with the wide receiver, and he just drops back into the zone, and the quarterback drops it in. And you see it from another angle here. It's a good throw by the quarterback. He has a tendency to make some errors. I think in the game, Mississippi State had 2 turnovers. Not sure if they were fumbles or interceptions. obviously leading to the short fields for LSU to give them those easy scores or easier scores. But he's kind of an up and down type of guy when he is playing. Looks like they were running 20 here, 2 running backs, no tight ends, 3-man rush, not getting any pressure on them. They're running a zone, and again, they give that guy easy access to the area. On defense, you see them, they're getting pretty good push here. This quarterback is under duress for most of the game, and they really do a good job of just planting him in the ground there. They're going to be growing them some Tigers here pretty shortly on that field. Yeah, see, very, very physical up front. These guys are a little bit outmatched with where they're coming from. 3 guys on the left side of LSU's line just weren't able to hold down those 2 guys. We're going to need to do a really good job on them with our problems to be able to move the ball this coming week. So again, you see them kind of got it's a 4-man front, but 1 guy's up, 3 are down. Again, you see them getting really good push up front. LSU's guy does a really good job standing in the quarterback. That's something that we just don't have right now. He was able to deliver a strike right there, but if Calzada gets jittery, I think we're going to have issues there. Bringing 5 from Mississippi State. They don't quite get home. LSU's line, you got to give them credit. They're doing a decent job at times, and the quarterback as well. Decent coverage by Mississippi State, and they come up with the interception here. Really, it was just probably a bad decision to even throw that. But maybe it was a 50-50 ball, and they wanted to go up for it. This time they bring an extra guy, kind of move him to the out. LSU's running back does a good job picking him up, but in doing so, they let the other guy go free, trying to hold him off, and ends up getting him the sack. Watch 14 come around on the side, and so they let 17 go and just whiff on him because both guys try to take 14, and it just frees up 17 altogether. So we're going to have our ducks in a row when these rushes come, because when we do those kinds of things, bad things happen. Back on offense, again, we're running 4 wide receivers, 1 running back. Their running back gets a chip over there to give their quarterback just a little bit extra time, but don't stay on the block long enough to really give him the time to run there. I'm really most concerned about their defense and what it's going to look like against our offensive line. So here we see them running what looks like cover 2 with 2 safeties, but they end up crashing. Looks like they're going down to some type of man right here. So they throw. It's a great throw. I mean, 13 just wasn't quite on him, probably like he needed to be. So, I mean, if we want to have this kind of success like LSU was able to get here, then Calzada's going to have to stay in the pocket. He's going to have to deliver a pass right here, which just has not been our MO currently. Whenever he sees that pressure coming, he's been getting jittery. So I'm going to use this play to kind of talk about what maybe we can do a little bit game plan wise. You see them, they're going to send 3 and drop 8. Somehow this goes for a huge score because there's going to be a guy open deep down the field. But it ends up being like, 6 on 3 here. They really hold form. They got 2 guys for each one of their rushers. And more than that, what I'm thinking though is because we had that similar situation in the Arkansas game. One of the things we never did was run the quarterback. He scrambled a couple times, but we did not have any design runs. And Calzada can run a little bit. He may be no Haynes King with his feet, but he still can get some things done. And he's got a lot of heart. Watch the LSU linebackers kind of got a little bit of a stutter step here. They're a little bit slow to identify that this is a run play, which gets them to the play 2-3 yards late, if you will. I like to do time and yardage sometimes because it makes a big difference on how much is actually end up being gained here. We're going to need to make quick decisions. You'll kind of see this happen again right here. The linebackers come up just a bit and then they drop back as if this was going to be a run to start off with. Maybe they're trying to get on their assignment quick, but even then those guys were going a little bit deeper than what they were prepared for. So QB makes a good throw. You can see he can be accurate there. Three-man rush again for LSU. Mississippi State sending out four. There's a guy open right in the middle of the field, but he's going to go deep down the field with it, and they leave a guy wide open. If we don't have close coverage, we are going to struggle with Mississippi State. They've got enough firepower that they can put up some points. It's going to be a matter of how good our coverage is. All right, let's see what they're going to do here on defense. This time they're going to send a 6 on LSU. They basically get home, but somehow he makes this play and he delivers it to 87 right on the money. Two defenders knock themselves out in the process. You see the kind of the screenplay here, really run well from Mississippi State. And they'd really do a lot of things well. Down on the goal line, just takes what he's given, and they probably just weren't quite focused enough to stay on him and get on him early enough to prevent that score from happening right there. Okay, you're going to see the running back flare out from Mississippi State. He just gets lost in the coverage. LSU just forgets to cover him, forgets that he's there, and by that time it's just too late. So knowing your assignment, knowing where you're supposed to go, absolute key. We have got to do that much better than LSU did. In my opinion, this was Mississippi State's game except for about 3 plays. So kind of an odd game if you think about it. Like the spread opened up yesterday, we opened up 9.5 point favorite. And I really just kind of started scratching my head. I'm like, we just did not do well enough against Arkansas. And I think Arkansas is a good team, but I don't think they're that good a team. At least, I'm not saying their defense is elite. I think that we held ourselves to 10 points in large part. Yes, they had something to do with that. Yes, they are good, but I'm trying to think, why would we beat Mississippi State by 9.5 points? What has our offense done to prove that we can put up enough points to cover that kind of spread? I just don't know. Also, Mississippi State looks like they can at least put up some points. So if this score is going to be, say, Mississippi State's going to put up 20, we've got to put up 29, actually 30 to cover the spread. How is that going to happen? How are we going to put up 30 points? We only put up 10 against Colorado, the same against Arkansas, and now we're going to get 30. I'm really having a difficult time. So what we'd have to do is essentially, if we're going to score our number of points, that we'd have to hold them to 0. Now that's not out of the question with our defense. It's possible, but they're going to have to play from the get-go like they've been playing in the second half. So that spread's just not making sense to me. Right now, I wouldn't take us on the over. I'm going to have to see a lot more out of the offensive line before I'm comfortable with that. I do think it's possible. I think that we can win every single game left on the slate. I do think that we can do that. We have that potential, and you keep hearing that word come up. It's going to plague us probably the rest of the season, unless we start doing, and then it won't plague us anymore. We can beat every team that we've got left on the schedule, even Alabama. We can do that. The issue is whether or not we can execute, whether or not we're going to play with that urgency from the get-go, whether or not we're going to execute like we know that we can, and those attention to details, knowing where we need to be and when we need to be there, and just being prepared. So, there's that old adage that perfect preparation prevents piss-poor performances, the 6 Ps or 7 Ps or whatever it is. And if we want to prevent piss-poor performances, we're going to have to have perfect preparation. And I just don't think we've had that so far. So I'd really like to see what this team can do when they have that. If they have that, I think the sky's the limit. I do. I can see it in this team, but I've been a part of teams where I can see that the sky is the limit and it just never quite comes to fruition. I hope to hell that's not this team. But only time will tell. We've got another opportunity this coming Saturday to do that and to prove that. Can they cover that 9-point spread? Absolutely. Can we win this game, say 35-15? Definitely. But we got to go out and do it. We got to catch balls. We got to be on our blocks. We've got to stand in the pocket. We've got to you know, cover tight. We've got to recognize, run, pass, and get on our coverage areas quick and fast. But that's asking a lot. That's a lot to do right now. So what are we going to do? I want to be as honest as I can with giving this. I don't want to sugarcoat things. I just don't think part of what I want to do on this channel is lie. I don't want to be just so optimistic about everything. I'm always going to pick A&M to win. And right now we're struggling. And I see a little bit more in that game, I think, for Mississippi State than I saw out of the score. I don't think the spread is accurate. If we win, I think it's going to be very close. Right now, my tendency and my gut are telling me that we're likely to lose this game. I think I knew that we were going to lose against Arkansas, but I didn't want to acknowledge it from my heart. I think my head knew it, but the Aggie that I am just wouldn't allow me to pick that way. And I think the signs were there. I think the signs are there in this game too. I think if I'm wrong about this, and I am going to officially choose and predict that we're going to lose this game, and it kills me to do that, and I hope I'm wrong. So I want to try and predict how I would be wrong, and I think it's everything that we've basically been through at this point. Calzada's going to have to find himself. I think we could do ourselves a favor by doing a little bit more play action, actually doing some design runs from the quarterback. A little bit more RPO where he's going to get into the action a little bit more. I think that will open up things a little bit, but I don't really see that happening. I don't see those plays calling, but if they are, I think it could work out. And then finally, execution. We just need to execute. And we could win this game 10-0 if the defense plays with the same urgency in the first half as they do have been playing with in the second half. And so that's a possibility there as well, and cover that spread as well. So we'll see. I've got a motivational thing probably coming out this week, and I think it speaks to this entire point. I'll try and get that to y'all. For now, tell me what your prediction is. Tell me what you think is going to happen in this game. I'd like to know if you think we can cover that spread, if you think we can cover that win, and if predicting us to lose is just too much at this point. Is that the most realistic thing to go with at this juncture, or should we have a real chance to win this and win big? I'm not exactly sure. That's where I sit right now, having looked at this. Now that you got to look at it, you tell me what you think. So hopefully, though, I will say this, hopefully we go beat the hell out of Mississippi State, and then we go play Alabama 4-1, 4 wins, 1 loss, and then we can see if we can go from there. Everything's in our hands. We just got to make it what we want. So until then, gig 'em.